Hey everyone, welcome to Learner's World. Today's topic is going to be unexplained historical events. To start off with, we have the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is an area of the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean between Bermuda, Miami, Florida, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's commonly known as the area of the Atlantic Ocean where people, ships, and planes have mysteriously gone missing. One scientific explanation for this could be oceanic flatulence, which is when methane gas erupts from oceanic sediments. Next, we have the lost colony of Roanoke. Roanoke was a small colony that was founded in 1587. The settlers disappeared due to unknown circumstances. The mayor for the colony at the time was John White, and he had departed for England for needed resources and manpower. When he returned 3 years later, he not only discovered a deserted colony, but he also found the letters CRO and the word Croatoan carved into one of the trees. It is theorized that the colonists moved to the nearby Hatteras Island, which at the time was known as the Croatoan Island. Starting in 1998, the Croatoan Project had found some evidence to support this theory. Next up is the Taos Hum. Taos is a city found in north-central Mexico. The Taos Hum is based on a resident hum with no known origins. It was first reported during the 1990s. Joe Mullins in his research discovered that only about 2% of the population of Taos could hear this hum. Equipment that was able to detect sound vibrations was taken into these homes of some of the people who reported being able to hear the hum, and nothing unusual was able to be detected. Next, we have the Amelia Earhart disappearance. Amelia Earhart is known as the first female pilot to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. She and her navigator, Fred Noonan, had departed from Lae, New Guinea after refueling to continue to their next stop at Howland Island, which was 25,000 miles away. There were overcast skies, low fuel, and communication issues. Despite efforts made to locate the plane, there is no evidence of the whereabouts of Earhart, Noonan, or the plane. Next, we have the Voynich manuscript. A book dealer in 1912 who dealt with rare books named Wilfred Voynich came across a medieval manuscript. He began claiming that it was in an ancient castle in southern Europe. This manuscript is in an unknown code and/or language and contained what is described as strange illustrations, as the pictures on the slide show. It contains over 200 pages, with about 20 containing these drawings. Next up, we have the Nazca lines, which are geoglyphs that were etched about 2,000 years ago by an ancient Inca civilization in Peru's dry coastal plain. It was unknown that these geoglyphs were there until the 1930s when an aircraft flew over the area. The designs, which number over 1,000, have depicted geometrical shapes, animals, straight lines, and so on. One hypothesis is that they may have been associated with rituals pertaining to water. Next, we have Stonehenge. It is located in Wiltshire, England, and it is one of the most favorite prehistoric monuments. It was built in stages, with the first one being as old as 5,000 years, dating back to about 25,000 BC. Its purpose still is not known, and the bigger stones, which weigh 25 tons, are known as sarsens, while the smaller stones, due to their blue tint, are called bluestones. Next is Cleopatra's tomb. The location of Cleopatra's tomb has eluded discovery. It is believed that her tomb holds some significance historically and culturally. There has been no concrete evidence to the location of her tomb. It is hoped that her tomb will hold insights to the craftsmanship and artistic styles from that time period. Next is the Money Pit. The Money Pit is found on Oak Island, which is a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia. And on the east side of the island, there is a shaft that is about 100 feet or so deep. It is believed that the treasure in the Money Pit could possibly be connected to Captain Kidd, who was a Scottish pirate during the 17th century, among others like Shakespeare. How the treasure got to the island still remains a mystery, though. The Göbekli Tape. These predate the Stonehenge by about 6,000 years. This is stone that has been carved about 11,000 years ago. It is believed to be the world's oldest temple. It rises about 50 feet above the landscape which surrounds it. It is a group of over 20 circular stone enclosures, the largest being 20 meters across. In the center of the stone were two 5.5-meter towers carved in the center. Next, we have the Tunguska explosion. This occurred on June 30th, 1908. This was an explosion that took place over a sparsely populated area in Europe, the Podkamennaya Tunguska River. Witnesses reported seeing a bluish-colored fireball appearing almost as bright as the sun. This explosion had enough power to flatten 80 million trees and kill a reindeer. It is categorized as an impact event, though there was never a crater found. It occurred 2 decades before the first scientists arrived at this part of Siberia. Next is the Dancing Plague of 1518. It was a seemingly uncontrollable urge to dance among the residents of Strasbourg, and the first person to show signs of the dancing plague was Frau Trophea. By August 1518, there were about 400 people who had been struck with the dancing plague. This lasted from July to September of 1518. Next is the Nevada Triangle. In the 25,000 square mile area known as the Nevada Triangle, about 2,000 aircraft have disappeared. It is the area between Fresno, Las Vegas, and Reno. There are aircraft that have gone missing in a 60-year span of time. Area 51 can be found on the eastern edge of the Nevada Triangle. Steve Fossett is one of the more famous pilots who have gone missing in the Nevada Triangle on September 3rd, 2007. Next, we had the Dyatlov Pass. There were 9 hikers that died during the February of 1958. This took place in the Ural Mountains. Though 10 hikers originally set out, 1 had turned back due to medical reasons. When they were due to send a message back to the sports club, nothing was heard from them, and a search party was sent out. Originally, only 5 bodies were found in the snow, and after snow melted, the other 4 bodies were found. 1561 Nuremberg Aerial Celestial Event. April 14th, 1561, residents witnessed what appeared to be a space battle during the early morning hours. Reports say it was about an hour long. A description of the event explains it was an apparition in which cylindrical shapes that showed colors of black, red, bluish, white, and orange. Next is the unsolved case of Jack the Ripper. The case took place on the Whitechapel district on the east side of England. Only 5 murders had been proven to be connected to Jack the Ripper. Each victim had a cut throat and indications based on the mutilation of the bodies that the murderer had some knowledge of human anatomy. Authorities received notes from someone identifying themselves as Jack the Ripper. Some suspects at the time include Montague Druitt, Michael Ostrog, and Aaron Kosminski. Next, we have the Mary Celeste mystery. Mary Celeste was an American brigantine. It had shown up 400 nautical miles from Azores, Portugal, with no one aboard. November 7th, 1872, the brigantine set sail from New York with 10 people aboard, including the captain. When it was discovered, there were 3 feet of water in the hold, and none of the items of the cargo or passengers' personal items were disturbed, though no explanation was found as to the 10 passengers. Next is the Flannan Isles Lighthouse Mystery. Located 21 miles westward of the Isle of Lewis, the lighthouse was operational about a year when the keepers had disappeared. It is located on the island of Eileen Moor, or Big Island. The lightkeepers on duty were James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur. A steamer that passed about midnight, December 15th, 1900, didn't see the light from the lighthouse, and this was reported once it had docked. It was investigated and there was no sign of life on the island. No trace of these 3 men was discovered. The conclusion was come to that they must have been caught in a large wave and taken out to sea. Next, we have the Plain of Jars. In Laos, there are jars that stand as high as 10 feet tall. It has been suspected that these stone jars are a burial site. Researchers have suggested that these jars are about 2,000 to 3,000 years old. Tests have shown that there are bodies near these jars that were buried between 700 to 1,200 years ago. There are about 11 sites for these stone jars spanning over 60 acres. There is evidence of 3 types of burials at the different sites. 1 being a full human skeleton, 2 being bundles of human bones, and 3 were burials that included ceramic jars. Next, we have the Paracas candelabra, also known as the candelabra of the Andes. It is a massive geoglyph with unknown origins. It has been dated back to 200 BC, and the geoglyph goes about 2 feet deep into the hill. Some common theories about the significance of the Paracas candelabra include that it represents the jimson weed that grows in the area. And with that, we have come to the end of the video. I hope y'all have enjoyed. And if there's any topics you want me to discuss, whether it be over history or another topic, please leave them in the comments.